going on, everybody? It has been quite the week. Um, Something that I don't normally talk about on my show. It is something that is just something I just don't talk about, and that is um, sorry about this, guys. Is about the current events, and I was asked by several people to talk about the Charlie Kirk um, incident that happened early this week. And as you guys know, not only do I not watch TV, I don't watch the news, don't vote. Ever since my death, I don't have any part of this. Don't want it. But I don't shy away from things, and we can actually tie the Charlie Kirk incident into it fits into the non-physical in a way. All right, well, not in a way, it just does, but again, this is something that I don't normally talk about. And my youngest daughter talked to me about it, and she was very upset about it. She's 19 and she's in college. She misses dad, so we've been doing a lot of one-on-ones. And a member of my channel here, she was asking me to please talk about it as well. So I'll start out with talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And I had no idea who he was. I had no idea who he was, what he talked about, what it was. So again, I had to do research on Charlie Kirk. So I'm watching videos, who he was, and from what I could see of this man, he was a beautiful man. Misguided a little bit. Wow, 144 on the timer. Okay. Um, he wanted to debate you, friendly, lovingly. He loved you. He loved you all, regardless of what his opinion was, regardless of what my opinion is on something. Um, we do not have the right, do not have the right to murder somebody. Now, Jason, well, we've been doing this for millennia, thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. We've been murdering each other, raping our children, hurting our children. And where does that all? Aliens are here now, highly advanced beings, and I'll talk about it as soon as I'm done talking about this. Okay, bud. Thanks for putting that in there. So I watched what Charlie was about. Kirk. He was a family man. His children loved and adored him. His wife loved and adored him. He would go around and debate you beautifully. Some of his stuff was wrong, especially on religion. I didn't agree. I know I didn't agree with it, but does it mean that I want to kill this man? No. He loved you. He loved everybody. So nobody has it right here. Very few of us do. Very few of us do. So I was watching the day that he was murdered. And I was just sitting there, and he was talking, smiling, having a friendly debate. And he answered the question, put down the mic, and you hear the gunshot, and you see him get shot right over here through the neck, blood everywhere. And I was like, well, I know the body isn't real, so I really don't care about that. But what really got me upset about this, and this will tie into the non-physical, or it does tie into the non-physical, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But when I watch him grab his throat, and that's the only part that I could see, and him fall over, is his two little babies were there watching their father, the love of his life, right? Was sitting there watching her husband get shot in the neck and bleed out on that little stage. Now, Jason, how does this tie into the non-physical? And that upset me to watch that happen. It truly did. It broke my heart. Not for him. What happened to him is inconsequential to me. And I'll tell you why. But knowing what his children saw, knowing what his wife saw, and then hearing the applause in the front of the audience that he was shot and killed, it was disheartening to say the least. And I knew that I was getting myself worked up, and I knew that what was needed 444 on the timer. What was needed to be happening, and I forgave the shooter. I don't want to get emotional, but I saw him running on the roof, and the words, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." So how does this tie in to the non-physical? Every single one of you chose your parents. Every single one. You chose your parents, which means you chose the location on this planet where you needed to come in and incarnate into, right? Just like Charlie did. And he was in the United States. He's a Westerner. Is he an American? He's no more American than Russians or Japanese. Okay. They're simply born in the East, born in the West, born wherever, down under. Doesn't matter. All right. We all chose how to incarnate into the dream, how you wanted the dream to start with your parents, where you're located, so on and so forth. Charlie was no different. I'm no different. Okay. Now, the same thing is going to take place with all of you. Whoever finds this video, it's timeless. Okay. They're all meant to be timeless. It will come into your life when it's meant to. In the same aspect, guys, all right, I need you to understand this, that Charlie, just like you, just like myself, we wrote ourselves out of the matrix, out of the game. Okay? Charlie chose this as his death, as his awakening to wake up from the dream. Okay? It's no different than you see somebody going down the road and they get a head-end car collision and everybody's killed in the car. That is how they chose to end the dream. Charlie chose to end the dream this way. Well, why so violently, Jason? Why does somebody want cancer? Why does somebody want to go to war and have their arms and legs blown off? It's an experience, right? So when you're going through, it's like when you choose your life, okay, things that you definitely have to work on, but it's like going into a buffet restaurant that you've never gone into before, right? Except on this line, in this buffet, you have hundreds and thousands of millions of things that you can choose. And as you're up there creating your life, you're like, oh, how about, what does it look like if I get my arm blown off or my hand blown off? Or how about if I die this way? How about if I die in the house fire? How about if I start burning to death? You choose it. No differently than you chose your parents. Charlie chose to leave the dream this way. I knew that. I wasn't upset with that. What got me emotional is his family, his babies, his wife don't understand. And it's the empathy in me, the greatest form of love. As they watched their father die, I was like, what's the lesson in this, Father? What message is he sending out, not only to those that need it, but to everyone? And I was like, forgiveness. It's like, who really needs forgiveness here? The world. Whether you like this man, whether you stood with him, whether you agreed with him or not, the way he chose to leave this planet was nothing but for forgiveness. Now, it might be his wife needs to work on forgiveness, whether she's short-tempered or whatever. And this was his way of teaching her about forgiveness. It's kind of like if you read the story about the little soul, right? When he's talking to God and a soulmate walks in and he says, I'll teach you forgiveness. I'll do something so vile, so nasty, so hateful, so vengeful to you that you will have to learn forgiveness. And as God is listening to this, the little soul said, you'll really do that for me? He says, yes, because I love you. Now God understands this. In this moment of Charlie Kirk being assassinated, there was a lesson for somebody that somebody needed to learn, and it's the truth. And I want all of you guys to not look at it as this horrific incident. Send your love, send your thoughts, send your prayers to those two little girls, or his children, boy and a girl maybe, and his wife, who are just crushed as I did. I sent them all my love and all my sympathies because they don't know the game. I do. I didn't care about Charlie and his body and whatever. He was gone before the bullet even hit him in the neck. The soul knows down to the trillionth of a second when your time is up, and it just simply leaves. So, he felt no pain, guys. That I can promise you. He felt no pain. moments before he even clicked that trigger, he was gone out of his body. All right. And that is how this ties into the non-physical, is he wrote himself into the matrix, into the dream, just like you and I did. We're not done with it yet. We're still here, right? Charlie, it was his last moments. The soul knew it. He put that mic down, and if you watch his body language over, his body knew what was coming, or his soul knew it was over. It's time to go home. He's at home with Father. He's at home with his soul family. And I'm not just talking earthlings. I'm talking what you would consider aliens and everything. And he wants everybody to know here that he's okay, that he's fine, to go live your life. But that's how you can see such a horrific incident take place, and then to see people laugh and to see people just say, good for you, you deserve it, just because you're an evangelical, just because you believe in this, means he needed to be shot through the neck, means you get to laugh at him while his wife and children are horrified. You know, they don't know the game. But somebody asked me to talk about it. I don't want to get into it because, you know, he was a debater. He talked politics, religion. I didn't. He was his religious views, because he was, I do believe, evangelical, from what I could understand, is that they didn't, you know, what he was talking about wasn't true, you know. So Jesus Christ isn't your Lord and Savior. He didn't come here to save you. He didn't come here to start a religion. He didn't come here to do any of that. He came here to piss you off. He came here to muddy up the water, to make you think differently, to start fights. And that's exactly what he did. And he did it in a very loving way, but in the same way, he didn't come here, you know, to look into the crystal clear water. He came to stomp in it and muddy it all up. And that's exactly what he did. So he was wrong in what he talked about, but did he deserve to die that way? That's how he chose to leave. And that's all I'm going to say on it. I don't want comments coming in here. Well, he was, you know, I don't want it. I just want you to see how it goes into the non-physical, right? Each and every single one of us have written ourselves out of this dream. I may die in a car crash. I may die. I may walk into a building and it may blow up and I may burn to death. You know, I may go swimming in the Mediterranean, right? And all of a sudden a shark gets me and it eats me. It just, that's how I enter. That's how I choose to leave the dream. That's all. It's meaningless. You guys put so much emphasis on this, and this is non-existent. It's like if you were to take the head of a pin, how small it is, make it 5 times smaller, and then stick that same dot in the middle of the universe. That's how inconsequential your body is, not only to you, but to the non-physical and to your Father. All right. So the body is meaningless and pointless. So everything that is happening is already written in the universe. That is correct. You chose your life. So you're going to meet those hard points. Okay. So we'll say hard points are A, B, C, and D. Okay. So let's say first A, right? You graduate college. You made it to point A. Point B, maybe a few months later, right? Then you get married, have children. There's point A, B, and C, right? Eventually, you're going to get to D or E, and E is your way out. Okay, so you're going to get to those A, B, C, Ds, right? Now, how you get to those points, right? Now, you can go in a straight line or you can meander like hell. That's called free will. Either way, you're going to get to point A, B, C, and D. But how you get there, that's your free will. Right? It's like me getting out of this car, living it, you know, in the car, and then somebody cut me off and he says, fuck you. Get the fuck out of my way, you dumb motherfucker. Now, my free will, most people would, those are fighting words. I would say, hey man, I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying attention. My apologies. You have a blessed day. Okay. That's my free will. And I will exercise it that way, whether I did it or I didn't. So how you get there, say you got married and then, you know, however you're going to get from B to C, that's your free will. You can go in a straight line and just focus and do what you got to do, or you can meander through the woods and up the mountain, down the mountain, whatever you want to do, free will. But you're still going to get to A, B, C, and D. Okay. Oh, and also, Jason, one more question. Please don't be annoyed. Please, the videos of the lunar eclipse. I did not get to see the videos of the lunar eclipse. I was here in California, in Lodi, a little bit of Sacramento, but it was not visible here at all. So I did not see it. Remember that the lunar eclipse is just something that you're creating in your mind, right? The universe doesn't exist. So everything that you're seeing in the lunar eclipse is something that you're creating in your mind. Again, you misunderstand how powerful you are. So all of us are creating that lunar eclipse, but I did not get to see it. But when I woke up at 3 in the morning and I walked out and I looked behind me, the moon was huge. It was beautiful. I took a picture of it, but it came out blurry. I mean, it looked like I could literally reach up and grab it. It was the most beautiful white. But I did not get to see the lunar eclipse. I wish I would have, because I think it was a strawberry or blood moon or something like that. So there is no such thing as the rapture. Okay, that's never going to happen. Now, what the rapture is basically the second coming of Christ. Is that going to happen? Yes, but not in the way that you think that it says in the Bible. I've told you guys this from day one when I did my video on the greatest lie ever told. The Bible's a pile of shit. You could take out one page of the Bible and write Jesus's actual true words on it, and it would fill maybe 1.5 pages of his actual sayings. Okay, the rest of it was written by warmongering, hungry, power tripping people that knew the truth and wanted to keep you from it, and they deliberately did it on purpose. So, but what the second coming of Christ is simply this: there's going to be nobody. Jesus is not going to stand up in the sky where everybody can see him, and then the good little boys and the good little girls, he's going to choose which is which. Now, if you heard me before, right, who are we? I told you this. I'm God. All right. In the interview that I just did with NDE Journey, when I went to go have it filmed, when he said, "Who are you?" I'm God. Pure and simple, right? We're all gods. We're all Father. Split into 8 billion different pieces of him are here on this earth. We're all the same. All right. So who is God going to judge? Telkenwire. Who's he going to judge? Himself? It'd be like him sending, like you guys believe in Moses in the flood. Who's he going to kill? Himself? Same thing with the 10 Commandments. Who's he going to command? Himself? What does he need to command himself for? Right? That's how ridiculous it is. But so there's going to be no rapture. But what you know is the second coming of Christ is going to happen, but it's in a different way. The second coming of Christ is simply going to be this: when every soul on this planet, man, woman, child, baby, whatnot, becomes peace, in absolute peace. When your mind can now join as one and become peace, when you are at peace, every single one of you, the what you know as the rapture or the second coming of Christ will occur, and then everything will fold in on itself. Whoop, gone, right? Then there will be no more incarnations ever, because you've all come to the conclusion that everything that I'm witnessing and seeing and doing is nothing but an illusion. Any advice for how I can comfort my aunts who's terminal? First of all, I don't know how to pronounce your name, and I don't want to do it. Benozilar. I'm sorry if I said it the wrong way. Um, just know that her angels are there with her, comforting her, and that her Father is with her, God, and all of her soul family is absolutely waiting for her. And when I mean waiting, they are anticipating her anxiously for her to waken up and come home. Just tell her that she is loved more than she could ever possibly know. And you might be seeing this. I don't know how far along she is, but when she's getting close to the end, she'll be pointing up into the sky and, just smiling and pointing, because she's now seeing the angels. She's seeing her family. She's awakening, and she has risen so far in vibration that she can now see the non-physical. Okay. So just let her know that she is loved, that she is being taken care of, and that Father is anxiously awaiting her to awaken, that she's not alone at all in any way, shape, or form, and that this is something that she just simply chose. And again, you have my deepest sympathies for your aunt, or for you, my friend, because she's awakening and she's going to be in nirvana. But just tell her that she is loved, that she is adored, that Father is anxiously awaiting her to awaken. Um, so yeah. So no, there is no rapture, buddy. Don't worry about it. It's not going to happen. What else you guys got for me? I'm not going to talk about the Charlie Kirk thing anymore. You can go back and rewind it. Um, you were a big fan of my NDE, or your aunt was. Talk about what's true in Christianity. Well, I will say this, and this is about the only thing that I have anything to say nice about Christianity. Now, if you know about me, then you know that I grew up Christian, right? My grandmother um, was the one that gave me my religion, my Christianity. She's the one that pulled me out of public school and sent me to a Catholic church in fifth and sixth grade. So I had that Bible shoved down my throat. And if you guys know the Bible at all or have watched The Chosen, I enacted in the play, I was actually Jesus, by the way. Hey, how about that, huh? Um, about the bleeding woman, right? If I could only touch his garment, if I can only touch the fringe of his garment, right? And that's a good thing to talk about, because it is true that she just touched the fringe of his garment, but it really wasn't Jesus that healed her, right? Because he didn't put his hands on her, he didn't do anything. You have to understand that when you have a belief so deep, so profound, that that woman had, that if she could just touch a piece of this man's garment, that he could heal her. And when she fell and collapsed, and you just see her barely touch the tassels, and you feel the power come out, right? It was her belief, her absolute faith, that if she could just touch something of him, that she would be healed. You don't understand how powerful you are. That moment, that thought was so powerful that not only it was the combination of her belief in herself that she could get this done, that just getting near him was good enough. And it worked. One, the body isn't real, right? So it was her absolute and undying faith that this man that she has never met could do this. And she was right. But she doesn't realize that Jesus said, "You've taught me something today," right? Meaning her faith was that strong that it healed her. So let's talk about Jesus, okay? Jesus didn't want to be a Jew like I didn't want to be a Christian. I was born into it. He was born into being a Jew. All right. Jesus did not come here to start a religion. Jesus did not come here to um to do any of that. He simply came here to wake us up. He came here to muddy up the water. He came here to tear down religious fundamentalists and bring the true word of Father. When I think it was John 3:16, when he was it Nicodemus, I think he was talking to, right? When he said the kingdom of heaven is here and now. Well, it was always here and now. We are the kingdom of heaven. It's in us. It's us, right? Everything else is the illusion. And Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. Why? He didn't go on to explain that. But why? Because that neighbor is exactly you. Every person that you see when you go out of your house and go to work, go to the grocery store, go here, go there, is you. There is no difference between anybody on this planet or in the universe. It's all you. So Jesus said, love yourself as your neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus preached love. Are animals in the illusion? Everything you see is a hologram. It's an illusion. It's fake. Okay? It's unreal. And okay, look at it this way. When you took on consciousness, okay, consciousness is duality. Okay? I want you to get this so you can understand what I'm trying to say here. When you took on consciousness, duality, when you chose to come here, the moment you did that, you created fear, guilt, and the ego. So let me talk about this. You took cause and effect and you turned them around. Now the effect is essentially the cause, right? So look at it this way. When you're on a boat and you're going down the middle of the lake, right? Whether you're going real fast or not, right? You see the water part, okay? That's the little gap that fear is in, okay? That's where all our fear is, right? So what happens in time then, right? You see as the boat goes, those waves, those ripples, what do? They come together, right? You know that is when we come together as awakening, or you wake up like Charlie Kirk just did, right? That's the only thing that's separating you from one another, from seeing everybody else as not you. Is that boat going down the water and you see the waves split until those ripples over time come together back as one, as part of the lake. Okay? So that's where all your fear is. It's like a eighth of an inch long, but you chose to take cause and effect and turn them around, and that terrified the shit out of you, right? So and now you're lost. Now you're fearful, and now you've went somewhere deep in space. You walled yourself off, right? You put up a gate, a mountain, and instead of it being a beautiful paradise that you call the Garden of Eden, right? Now you're living in a goddamn desert, right? The land is parched. You can't grow anything. The wind is whipping up the dust in your eyes. It's burning you, and you're all angry at the world. And who does that sound like? The ego, right? So in that little flip around between cause and effect, now it's effect and cause, you became lost, scared. You look at your brother as some alien freak that needs to die, right? Now you look at a female and say, well, she's just as shitty as a male, right? Because you're scared. But why do we choose this human experience? What you're scared of, and this is the funny thing, guys, even me, until my own death, right? You're afraid to awaken from the dream, right? That's where your fear is fundamentally written in stone, right? Because you are perceiving because you're not really here. You're creating all of this in your mind. So you're perceiving what you're doing is punishable, right? That your father is now waiting there for you to send you to an abominational place and to hurt you. So your fear is time, which is also an illusion because it doesn't exist. Because just imagine this: everybody on the highway that you see, if you're driving for 8 hours, right? You're all in a straight line, but you can't get out of that line. Eventually you're going to come to the end, and that's your death, right? There is no going back. You can't jump lines. You can't go anywhere else. You're just going to keep going, and then all of a sudden you're the first person in the line. You know, it's coming. You're going to wake up, and that's where you're terrified. That's why I cried out to God, please don't let me die. Please, please. I knew I was a horrible person. I knew I did unspeakable things to people, said unspeakable things to people. And let me tell you, every single one of you, you are going to stand before your Father, and you are going to watch your life play out. Every part of it, from the time you come out of mom till the very last breath, every thought, word, and action is going to be played in high definition in front of your Father. There is no escape. There is no hiding. But he knows you've done nothing wrong because, in essential, you are him. You are all one with the Father. That's the illusion, that you're separate from everybody else. The cause and effect that got flipped around. You got that little gap. Now you ran off and hid because you're scared. Oh my God, look at my body. I'm naked, so I got to cover up. Boobs are boobs. Who cares about your boobs, right? But you became fearful. What do we gain from existential dread? Nothing. It, look, Adolf Hitler is at home. Okay, Jack the Ripper is at home. Ted Bundy is at home. Elaine Warhouse is at home. Jeffrey Dahmer is at home. There is no evil. Okay? Evil is something you create in your mind. Everything that you're feeling and seeing is everything that you asked your Father for. This is your contract. Okay? So from the moment you awake and you see and you say, "Oh, I love you this morning. Oh, I'm horny this morning. All of a sudden you got to work and now you're having a bad day." All those feelings and emotions are exactly what you asked your Father for. So when you stood in front of him and held this contract in front of him, this is what I want to feel. This is what I want to experience. This, and this. And he said, okay. He gave it to you. Now he may say, why do you want to be so small? Why do you want to feel so unworthy? Why do you want to be abused? Why do you want to be with men that want to hurt you? Because it's an experience that your soul is evolving from. All right? They're not real, they're not happening to you. They're happening to you in your mind, but still that little gap makes you feel like your body is real, like everything is there, when in fact it's not. And Jesus said it. Don't worry about your body. It means nothing. It's little. It's bleh. Um, let's see. Yes, you can change the contract. That's what I'm doing now. Why do you think I'm in California, sleeping in my car? Everything is. I'll get to that. That's a great question, JP. Let me ask this last one. Do people who die horrible deaths really choose that? Yes. For all I know, guys, all right, and this really made me think with the Charlie Kirk, and this is what's going to happen to me, that I'm going to be out there talking someday, right? When I'm out on the stage or I'm doing a seminar and I'm picking up where my brother left off 2,000 years ago, and it's going to piss somebody off so much that in the middle of my show, I may get shot, just like him, right? I may go out that way. Or, I may be going to work to, go to this conference and I might get hit in the ass end by a car and it roll over, burst into flames, and I die. Well, you're going to say, "Oh, poor Jason. Well, that poor guy that hit him, he should go to jail. He murdered him." No, it's how I chose to leave this earth. Why? I thought it might be fun to burn to death in a car. Oh, look at me flipping over, because when we're on the other side, we don't see it like this because we're not afraid. We see it for what it is, nothingness. Oh, let's try this. Oh, what does it look like to have your feet amputated? Oh, all right. How about your arm? How about getting cut right here? How about being deaf? How about being blind? Right? How about being autistic? It's the same thing. We all chose that way out. But it made me think when I was watching Kirk get assassinated the other day. That is, it was a weird feeling I got, and I felt it right in here that that's probably how I'm going to go. Somebody is not going to like what I'm teaching, and they're going to get really irritated. And when I'm out speaking somewhere, they're just going to walk up and shoot me. Oh, well, I could care less. All right. So can we change the contract? Yes, we can, JP. That is a great question. And that is what I'm doing. And this is how it worked. Remember what I told you guys, that in order to change your reality, you have to change your thoughts. Okay. You stood before your Father, and everything you're feeling, seeing, and doing right now is exactly what you asked him to do. And when you asked him to do it, he said yes. And you both, because you're both creators, you created your life and you're living it now. Now, after my death, right, I was like, no, this is unacceptable. And it took me a couple years after my death, almost 3, but I kept hearing meditation. You got to learn how to meditate. And I'm like, what? That looks so stupid. And then one day I woke up in the middle of the night and I said, Um, the universe, there is no evil. You create evil. Remember, evil is a gift humanity gave itself, nothing more. It doesn't exist. Just like beauty is a gift humanity gave itself too. You choose on how you want to live it. So, JP, what I did then is like I sat up one night in the middle of the night. I was on a weekend. It was like 1 in the morning. I couldn't sleep. I got up and I said different ways to meditate. And I went onto YouTube and I for about an hour I was looking at different things. And I found a style that worked for me. And I sat there and it was brutally hard for about 3 months. I mean, I couldn't get this thing to shut for love or money, right? I'm singing songs, I'm thinking all this, And then one day, I heard, relax your breathing. So I learned how to breathe. All right. And then one night I sat down and it felt like 10 minutes. And it was 45 to 50 minutes later when I opened my eyes. And it was the most magnificent meditation. But I began to understand positive affirmations. But none of that is going to take place until you do one thing first. And it doesn't matter how loving you are, how anything. It depends on your thoughts. If your thoughts are negative, if they're dark, if I'm in a bad mood where I fucking hate you, I hope you die. You know what? You're a horrible wife. You suck. I hope you die. I hope you're anxious, you're depressed. It's all low energy. You can have, I want to be a millionaire. I want this, right? It's never going to come because that's where you simply exist as a frequency. Like when you turn on your radio station because you want to hear some good music, right? You turn it on and there's the music. Well, why does the music pop on? Because you're matching that frequency. Okay, that's why the music pops on. So if you want that love, if you want that money, money is nothing more than a frequency, guys. Money doesn't exist. It's a frequency, right? So you have to match that frequency, meaning you have to raise your vibration a lot. Okay, you have to meet it on its terms because it's not coming down to you. Like Jesus will not come down to you. He will not. You have to rise to meet him at his frequency. And he's waiting there. He's waiting for the cracks in the armor. And as soon as that crack in the armor and they see light, they come flooding in. So when you want to change your contract, you have to come up with what you want and be specific down to the very last detail. All right. And you have to create a mantra. Now, I will give you what I do every day. All right. Now, expect nothing because I do it because it makes me feel good. I feel the energy within me. I feel it radiating out. Right. And that's why I do it. It brings me peace. I love it. I will not do without it now. Even in this stupid car that I'm sitting in, I try and get in a comfortable position. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm meditating. At 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, I'm meditating as best I can. But this is what I say. All right. And I'll give you an example of how vibration works. I met somebody here at the gas station and she liked me. And we went out on a little quick date, meant nothing, right? Now I had this upgrade. I felt my vibration go when I yelled at God, right? And I walked into the station today and I always got, hi, good morning, and she looked at me with absolute disgust. What does that tell you? I rose way above the vibration that we were at. She doesn't like it anymore. She don't want to have anything to do with me. That's fine. I understand it. I just smiled and went on. So this is what you do. Okay. Remember the statements that you have to make. They have to be made the right way. If you say, I want $1 million, well, guess what's coming? You made the I statement. It's a command. Not only did heaven stop, everybody stopped. Now they're listening. Now, what comes next is what you're going to get. So when you said, I want, well, that's what's coming. You said $1 million after want, but you're going to get more wanting. One, because that's where your energy level is, and you said it the wrong way. So you're going to get more wanting, and that's where you're already at. So it's just good. That's where your subconscious is wired to. So that's when you meditate, you're rewiring your subconscious. When you fall asleep, those theta waves are being brought out, and that's what's broadcasting. Your subconscious has to be rewired. Unlearn what you have learned. You were taught poorly, badly, horribly wrong. All right. And this is the stuff that I'm teaching. So that's why you meditate, because when you're in that meditative state and you've quieted everything down, you're getting into those theta waves. Now you're beginning to rewire your subconscious. And that's where you start with your mantra. So when I get going, right, and I'm just going to go through it kind of quick, but I do it with feeling and emotion. Most of the times I'm crying. All right. My love is through the roof. So I'll start out first with gratitude. The first thing I say, I don't say good morning because I know it's not morning. It's another, here it is, Father. Father, thank you. I am beyond grateful for what little, very little money I have in my account right now. Thank you for my health. Thank you for keeping my vehicle running. Thank you for allowing food to come into this body. Thank you for the beautiful sunny day. Thank you for everything that I have. Thank you for my daughter calling me on the phone last night. Be grateful for everything that you have, because there's somebody laying in a ditch dying of starvation right now while you're in a comfortable home, you're fed, you're washed. Be grateful for all that you have. And then I say, I am safe. This is the I am statements, because the I am is telling God that I am. And these will come. The I am are direct commandments. They will occur. Meet that vibration. And I'm at that vibration. That's why I'm in California. So I am safe. I am secure. I am loved. I'm going to get emotional. I am protected. I am strong. I am powerful. I am love. I am light. I am boundless. I am limitless. I am eternal. I am a God. I am capable. I am resilient. I am worthy. I am abundant. I am wealthy. And I am in a loving relationship with my twin flame. But I am in such a state of quietness and at peace that they have no business not coming to me. And that is how you ask the non-physical to change your contract, which I just did. And then I'll get into it, and I'll get into specifics, which I'm not going to because that's personal to me. So remember, guys, a few months ago, 4 months ago, when I came into my old apartment and it was trashed, right? What is taking place is that what that whole thing meant by them completely trashing my apartment was that your life, that you know it, is over. It's done. The part of Jason that you knew for 50 years is now gone. That's why from the end of July up until recently, I've applied to 40 jobs, even Walmart and Target. Every single job has been denied. No, no, no. Even my college degree, working with autistic kids, bipolar, sexually abused for 2 years, no. Everything I've applied to has been turned down. Why? Because what I was manifesting in my contract change is now taking place. That part of Jason is dead. It will never come back, ever. It's gone. That is how I changed the contract. So the second part of that is, we talked about this earlier, which I go first and then I go into my affirmations. When I say, all right, I'll just say it like this. Good morning, Father. Good morning, Holy Spirit. Good morning, Yeshua. I love all three of you. Thank you for another day. Thank you for another opportunity for me to do better, to love more deeply, to love them as you. And again, I am grateful for everything, Father. Everything. This car that is keeping me sheltered, the food in my tummy, what little there is, what little money is in my account right now. Thank you. And then I'll say, what I'm seeing, I created. Everything that I'm feeling now, Father, I understand that I created it. I asked it of you. You said yes, we created it. And then I say, I made a huge mistake. I made a monumental error. I'm not little. I'm not unworthy. I am worthy of everything that has ever existed and will exist. And Holy Spirit, I'm telling you now, take this from me. I no longer want it. It's gone. It's yours. And say, I acknowledge, Father, I am powerful. And if I was powerful enough to create what I'm seeing and feeling every day, I am just as powerful to uncreate it. And that is my will. My will is that of you, Father. This is done. Now you go into your positive affirmations and you go into what you are wanting to create. It has no choice but to come to you, but you have to meet it at its vibrational level. It will not come. It just won't. And that is how I changed my contract, JP. It is simple as that. So now when that happened 4 months ago, look what happened. My life is chaotic. It is turned upside down. I'm living in my car. That angel came in 2023. Remember, would you be willing to move to Sacramento? Well, here I am. Everything that has been asked for is now coming true. So you know when your life is completely falling apart, no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, no matter how bad you try and make it happen, finding the jobs, trying to find another apartment, trying to find another higher paying job where I was, everything just went. When I got here, same thing, right? It's all gone. I created the new life. So when I close that door, there's no going back. That vibration is high, right? Okay, so I've met it. Now, what the non-physical is doing is they've created it. Now I've got to wait for it to come. So in that statement, when you know everything is completely falling apart in your life, loss of job, loss of a marriage, loss of this, loss of that, it's for a reason. Your life is now changing and going into a higher dimension. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose family members. You're going to lose your own children. Well, they're not your children because they too are God. So it's your life is changing, and that is how you change it, JP. Just like that. But you have to meet it on its frequency, because that's all you exist at is a frequency, right? So it's as simple as that. But most people don't. They'll say, Father, I want $1 million. I want a husband that doesn't abuse me. I don't want an alcoholic, blah, 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 blah. That'll never work. You have to do it the right way. And it takes time. And I've been telling you guys this now for 2 years. Meditate. Well, Jason, I can't. My mind was, I don't care. Sit down quietly. I don't care if you got kids. You do it at night when everybody's asleep. You get up an hour before everybody else, take a shower, sit down on the couch for 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Doesn't matter. The non-physical wants to see repetition. They want to see you making the effort to climb in vibration, to climb in that frequency, to get out of the darkness. Darkness doesn't exist. What happens when you walk into a basement and you turn on the light? It's gone. Or you turn on the flashlight in the cave. The darkness, it doesn't exist. You are the light of the world. Show it. Shine. Don't condemn what happened to Charlie Kirk. Send your love and your empathy towards his babies and his wife, because they don't understand. Show that empathy. Cry, as I did. And I didn't know the man. I wasn't crying for him. I felt the horror for his children and his wife. And that is how you change your contract, guys. All right? It's always the case that the soul leaves the body. That's correct. It's like every NDE that I watch, and I still watch them because it's therapy for me. I love listening to their love. I love feeling the love, right? Because then all of a sudden I'm immersed back in my NDE and feeling that love, right? So every NDE that, they were in a car accident, and next thing you know, just before the accident actually happened, they're watching it from above and they're like, wow, that kind of looks like me down there, right? Or, oh, that person resembles me, but I'm right here, so how can I be there? No, like I said, guys, your soul knows down to the trillionth of a second the game is up for you. and it simply leaves the body. It's like when you watch those people in the Twin Towers, right? And you're watching those people jump out of the windows. They never felt anything. They may have jumped and they may have been falling, but then the soul was like, I'm done, bye. The body died a horrible death, but is the body real? Like I've explained it to you guys? No. So um I just don't want that sun in my face. But anyways, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So no, there is, now I felt pain before my death, but when I left my body, there was no pain. Absolutely not. I was in absolute peace, absolute bliss. Love flowed through me. It was the most amazing thing ever. So no, there's no people. You don't feel it. Your soul knows the game is up. So it's game over, It's like your avatar dies in a video game and then you shut the game off, and when you want to play again, you turn on the game, you pick your avatar, and then you go play the game. That's exactly what's happening here, right? In this life, I'm in a male body, but I want to know what it's like to be in a female body. Now, I'm sure I've had half of my lives or more or less in a female or male. This time I'm a male because it's what I needed to accomplish my mission. I could have done it in a female body, but it would have been way, way harder. So I'm in a male. Well, next time, I want to be female. Why? As a male, you know what it's like being intimate with a female, right? Well, I want that experience to know what it's like to be the female in that equation. So, childish, but hey, whatever. What is controlling the body just before point of death? Nothing. Nothing. Why? If you're 2 seconds away from hitting that semi truck in front of you and decapitating you, why do you need somebody control the body? Or say all of a sudden the house is on fire and all of a sudden the floor gave out and you fell into the flames. Well, what do you need to control? Right? Nothing. You just simply left. You just left the vehicle. That's all. It's like when you get out of your car and go to walk into the grocery store. Are you worried about controlling the vehicle? No. Why? You're not in it anymore. Same thing when you go to work. You get out, you grab your stuff, you go into work. Are you worried about what's driving the car or what the car's doing? No. It's the same thing. This body is useless. It's meaningless. It's pointless. It doesn't crave attention. It doesn't crave to be in a sports game. It doesn't crave to be a winner or a loser. It does nothing. It does what you want it. If you want to pick your butt, it'll pick your butt. If you're going down the road for 15 miles and you say, I don't want to go down this way, I want to go left. And then you go left, does it care? No. It's nothing. It is truly meaningless, your body. Well, sometimes the body is still moving when someone is having a painful death, right? It depends, It's like when you watch somebody drown on a beach, right? And they're pulling this body out of the water. Is the body's just reacting due to neurological impulses, right? Electrical charges. That's it. Because that's what this thing is. It's an electrical suit. It's a sensory suit, right? And it's perfectly designed for what it's fitting into in this three-dimensional world. So when you're seeing somebody like that, or they got in a car accident and they're trying to resuscitate them and their arm may move, it's just an electrical impulse. That's all it is. You're not controlling it, you're watching it. Just like I was watching my body from the ceiling. I had no love of it. I could care less. And right now I don't want to be attached to it in any way, shape, or form. Okay, there's nothing inside this body, by the way, guys. Nothing. Okay, we're attached to it like putting on a latex gloves. When you saw at the end of Return of the Jedi, and you see Anakin, and you see the white or the blue and the white around him, that's what our soul does. It wraps around the body so it can control it. Other than that, there's nothing in it. It just simply turns to dust. And it shouldn't, because we created these things to be eternal. But because of our fear, because we switched cause and effect around, right? So now it's the effect and then the cause, we freaked ourselves out. And it's that little gap, like I said, when you're taking the boat and you're going down the lake and you look at the waves split out, and you see them, it takes a while for them to come back together. That's all that needs to take place, guys. We need to fix that. It's just such a small little thing that's keeping us from seeing each other as one. And that's why I teach. It's really that small. I mean, it's an insignificant amount of space, but that's the best way to describe it. Is like when you see the boat going down the lake and you're sitting there watching it, and then eventually the waves come closer and closer and closer and closer, and then come together. And then you would actually literally see everybody as one. And that's how I see all of you. I don't see you as bodies anymore. I see you as sinless. You're perfect. You're beautiful. Every single one of you. You've done nothing wrong. You're sinless. You're guiltless. But you've got to get that out of your own mind. Because you, believe it or not, so deep down in your subconscious, feel like you need to be punished. That you need punishment for what you have said and done. And that is absolutely not the case. You've done nothing wrong. It's a dream. And what's funny about it is when you have a nightmare, right? And all of you have had a horrific nightmare where you'll wake up screaming, you'll wake up pouring down sweat. The thing that happened was in your subconscious mind, when your body was asleep, you were trying to fix your first dream, your waking dream, that this is the dream right now, right? And it went horribly wrong. And you effed it up beyond belief. And you created utmost terror because you were trying to bring a beautiful life together, and you messed it up. You had a nightmare, right? So when you have that nightmare, you sit up and you scream, ah, whatever, right? Well, you just haven't woken up from the dream. That's what waking is, and that's what you're terrified of. That is what you are absolutely terrified of. You're terrified of seeing Father. You are expecting judgment, to be punished for doing absolutely nothing wrong. None of you have done anything wrong at all. But you feel that gap, that little gap that between the cause and effect that got switched around. You became fearful, guilty, and you created the ego. And then you ran and hid from Father because now you expect judgment. Because now you're listening to every voice in your head, which is the ego that you created out of fear that doesn't exist, right? You went off and hid, walled yourself off at some part of the little tiniest universe and told God, fuck you, stay out, because when I do find you, I'm going to kill you. Because that's what the ego does. The ego wants God dead. And there's your fear again, right? The ego wants you dead. The ego is a false belief in who you are, nothing more. You think you're unworthy. You think you're a female. You think you're a male. You think you're a policeman. The president of the United States actually thinks president of the United States. He's not. He's having a dream. He's the president of the United States. That's it. That is it. That's how quickly we could change the earth. When Father wants something from us when we're at home, okay? I told you what we are. You created your reality. And I just told JP how to change the contract, to change your reality while you're in the physical, right? So when Father wants something from us when we're home, what does he do? He comes to all of us, as a collective consciousness and says, hey, I want this, guys. I love you, And then what do? All of us at home in heaven, we come together as one and we create what Father wants. We give it to him out of our absolute undying love for ourself and our Father, right? So what do you think we can do in this physical realm if every single one of us got together and said, no more war? And we all joined one in all that thought. What do you think would happen? War would disappear. Then we got together and say, we want the planet in pristine condition, back to what it used to look like in the dinosaurs. Perfectly beautiful, all the trees, clean rivers, lakes, streams, and we came together as one united consciousness. What do you think would happen? It would happen just like that. That's all we have to do, guys. That's all we have to do to fix this. But you look at your neighbor as a sinner, you look at him and you put your own unconscious guilt and fear onto him because it's a mirror, right? You're mirroring it. So you're pushing your hate, anger, and fear onto him, causing him pain and suffering, which is you. Therefore, what is happening to you? You're beginning to get your body sick because you're pushing that fear and guilt onto your body, which has done nothing to you. But now you're going to give it cancer because you hate it and you hate everything that you see. We can fix this world, guys. We can fix it right now. You're so afraid to come together. You're so afraid to look at that person in Africa and say, I love you. To say to the same person in China or Russia or Ukraine, I love you unconditionally. But instead, you look at them as a sinner, guilty of everything because you're feeling like a sinner and guilty. You push it onto them, and thus the hate keeps going round and round and round. And Charlie Kirk gets a bullet through the throat. We can stop this, guys. World War III is going to be here in about 5 years, 6 years. And then we all go. Or we can learn to love one another, like Jesus said. Look, it's been 2 millennia since the most beautiful human being to ever walk this planet in this fake reality. And we're still stuck on the 10-yard line because we refuse to look at your neighbor and love them unconditionally. I don't come on here every week, every Friday now, and put out my videos because I hate you. I come on here every week because I love you and I want to help you. I want to see you rise in your vibration. I want you to see your success. I want to see you in the most beautiful, loving relationship, the most beautiful job. I want you to have a beautiful dream instead of a fucking nightmare that you see in the world today. It's horrific, the violence and the anger and the rage that is taking place in our minds, all out of fear of something so tiny that can be fixed in an instant, when you can look at your brothers and know that you are one with them, that they have done nothing wrong and that you have done nothing wrong. And yet we still can't do that. That's fear. And that is also an illusion because it doesn't exist. You create fear. The only true emotion and feeling that we have is what we were created out of. Love. I love you all. And there's nothing that brings me more pleasure than saying that. I think all week, what am I going to talk about? What new video can I put out? What do you guys need from me that you're stuck on? What can I help you with? That's what truly matters to me. And that is where my business is going to take off. This is what is going to happen. This is why I can't find a job. This is why I'm in California. Why am I in California? The most expensive state in the world. $5 a gallon of gas. Okay? In a quarter tank, it's costing me almost $90 to fill up a quarter tank of gas. Come on. And a half a tank, well, you're about $150. So what am I doing here? That's because California is the hub of the elite. Do you guys understand that? The elite of Hollywood elite, business elite, everything. That means whoever is going to find me here relatively soon is going to launch me. And what Michael said, 110,000 a month, that work for you? That's coming. There's a reason why I cannot do anything here. Even though my bank account says I've got about $120 in it, when my phone bill comes out in 2 days or on the 15th, guess where that's going to be? I'm not worried about it. They want me here for a reason, and I believe it. That's why I threw my whole life in the garbage, in the dumpster. Put everything that I would truly like to save, my couch, my bed, and a couple other things, in a pod, and I thought I was going to live in Arizona. Well, they said, no, you said California, so all my shit now is stuck in Arizona, and I'm living in my car in California. But when I left, there was no fear. As I was trying to save everything, I heard purge, purge twice, loud voice in my head, purge. And everything that I boxed up for 2 days, brand new crock pots, dishes, everything got tossed into the garbage. 63-inch plasma TV that hadn't got turned on in 3 years, that got thrown in the garbage. Everything got thrown into the garbage. All the silverware, cups, everything got thrown away. Very little of my life has been saved. There's a reason why, because that part of Jason.
New text message from Angelina.
My daughter's texting me, guys. But anyway, that's why. And that's why I'm sitting here. Now, I messed up. Remember when I told you I freaked out on Father and had that moment of, you guys can all go F yourself? Given that beautiful lucid dream, I'm right where I need to be. I can't remember it all, but it was beautiful. I had reached the highest version of myself that is already existing here in this realm, well, another dimension. You have to understand, guys, that there's probably about 5 or 6 different versions of Earth in this dimension, okay? Some are not as hard, some are, well, the hardest, which we're in, okay? So I'm catching up to that version of myself that is what I'm creating. And that is why I'm here. Okay? I'm trying to get out of the sun. You guys, there we go. And that's why I'm here. I'm catching up to that version, the highest version of myself. I just have to be patient. But it's hard when you're watching the flea circus take place. All of you are going to, well, you think you're going to work, but what you consider life. And I'm sitting here learning how to receive, which I found out that's part of the reason why I'm here. It's good to give, guys. You can give your heart out. Give it, give it, give it. Give people, help people. A lot of the food that gets bought for me, right? There's homeless people here that have nothing. I'm out there giving them 2 or 3 cans of food, 2 or 3 bottles of water, and sitting with them, talking with them, making sure that they're okay, that they know they're loved. Well, I have very little, right? I have no money in my account. But I have to understand that this is for a reason. It's a challenge, that it's a test. Am I going to run back to comfort? Right? Am I going to run back to security, or what I think is security? Or am I going to stick it out and make sure that I meet my totally abundant self that I just created? Because it's there. So I sit patiently and I wait and I teach, because it is an unbridled passion. It is a desire to help humanity. And that is why when I asked God a couple years ago, why did you create me this way? Who am I? What am I? And then the very next day, 3 things showed up. I was a chosen one, a video popped up, lone wolf, and a Sigma male. Now, I never looked those up before, but when I asked that question, it was given to me instantaneously. Just like when I had my freak out and they gave me the lucid dream. Here, this is where you're going to. Okay? My vibration is so high that it's just a matter of time. And that's why when I walked into the store to go to the bathroom, she looked at me with disgust, when 2 days ago she smiled at me. My vibration has just risen. I'm in another dimension. And that, JP, and all you guys, is how you fix your current reality. When I say that your thoughts create your reality, it's a simplistic version of what I just described for the last 45 minutes. Okay, sorry about the shadow on my face, guys. There's nothing I can do to get rid of it. Well, here we go. That's how you get your reality to change. Sorry about that. I got to get that sun out of the. But that's it. Your thoughts create your reality. If your thoughts are dark, that's all going to come. You got to reprogram your subconscious mind, guys. So, and that's on you. That's how I told you guys to get into meditation, go for walks, ground with nature. Seriously, go out into your yard and hug a tree. Take your shoes off, go into a park and hug a tree. Simple as that. It is amazing what that does to you. It's phenomenal. It is so beyond good and healthy. It's I don't have very many trees here. I have desert and dirt, but if I can, I would. But that's how you get that things done. And then I realized the last thing I'll talk about is, even though I was a certain person, or who I thought I was, right? I came here to serve humanity. I came here to serve. And when that realization hits you like a bitch slap, like somebody turns around and slaps you and you stumble and you fall on your butt, that's what it was. Like my whole life was a lie until my near death experience. And then I realized I came here to serve all of you again, to help you wake up and realize who you are. And that's beyond profound, man. It simply is. There's nothing greater. When I mean that, to be a servant to all of you guys, to teach you who you are because I love you that much. That is why I started my channel. That is why I do this. And I'm going to leave it on that because that's a beautiful point to leave it on. I love you guys. Thank you so very much for supporting me, showing up. And for those that do help financially, I'm beyond blessed. Truly am. Thank you for all that you do. If you guys want me to talk about something specific on Sunday when I do a new video, drop it in the comments. You guys know I read those comments because I respond back to you. So put them in there. If not, I'll figure something out because all I do is sit here. I love you guys. Thank you for everything. This channel wouldn't be anything without you guys. I'm not up into the 50, 60, 70, 80,000. I haven't even reached 10,000 yet, but I'm okay with that. Oh, that's one more thing I'm going to mention. Because I have a very specific channel. It's not just about NDEs. I really go in depth and demystify a lot of stuff. And that, requires higher vibrational people to get shown the material, meaning my stuff will pop up on your algorithms, right? So, God damn, son. There, I mean, that's the best I can do. I don't know. So, that's it. And yeah, well, now you see my living conditions, guys, right? There's Olaf. He keeps me company. We have lots of deep conversations, don't we, buddy? Yeah, I love you. There's my cooler for my water and stuff. And yeah, what was I going to say? Oh shit, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, on the 16th, I will be on Untethered Consciousness. All right, same time, 5 o'clock. Another live session, but Rod and I go way back. He's my video editor. I was his first NDEer, and I got his channel up and running, and he wanted to bring me back on. So I'll be on live again. Maybe I won't do a video on Sunday. We'll see, because there's going to be another version of me out there, so probably not. Monday the 16th, it'll be 7 p.m. Central Time, so it'll be 5 p.m. I'm Mountain Time or Pacific Time. I don't know. So look for that. If you're a channel member, you'll see it because he's going to update it the day of or a couple days beforehand. So look for that. Again, I love you guys for all this love and support. And for those that you do, donate and to my situation, I'm beyond grateful, truly grateful. It has been a hard lesson for me to learn how to receive. I was very adamant about that. And I've talked to a supporter of mine. Which was like, my response would be, hey, let me help you out. And I'll be, well, no, I'm not some beggar. I'm not some worthless piece of shit that you need to give me money. Well, that's something I truly had to work on. I'm not a charity case, so go give that to somebody else. Well, wrong. You need to accept, you need to receive as well as give. So that has been a very tough lesson for me to learn here while I've been receiving all of this generosity from all of you who have donated to me financially. It's been humbling. And I will tell you that I sit here and cry most nights because it has been beyond anything I have ever expected. All of you have been keeping me literally alive, sitting here in this parking lot. And I cannot thank you enough. So again, Untethered Consciousness on the 16th. Look for it, guys. You'll see it posted. And I love you guys. Thank you. Yeah. Have a blessed weekend. Bye, guys. Put your comments down there on what you want me to talk about. Bye, guys.